Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Working Trader, where we look at the Euro USD and GBPUSD and come up with trade ideas for the day, if there are any. So let's jump right into the charts. First off, looking at Forex Factory. So we have high impact news for the pound. We have flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI news. That's for the pound. So nothing for the US dollar. All right, so let's jump into the charts, and this is what we're seeing. So we have been in this strong trend to the upside internally. Okay, after this internal break of structure, so internally we've been bullish, and then after break of structure we do expect some kind of pullback. So after sweeping these highs, then price has been pulling back. Okay, so price could continue, possibly maybe to mitigate this imbalance, or even all the way into this demand range. Okay, so that's at a high level what price could be doing. All right, so it's the same on the pound. So the swing is bullish. We've been in this pullback. Pullback could be now complete, and then we now have an internal breaker structure to the upside, signaling that the internal pullback could now be complete, and now price could be willing to continue all the way up until it takes out the week daily high. Okay, so as you can see, we've had strong movement to the upside and then very shallow candles to the downside. Okay, but price can still continue, okay, trickling down. All right, possibly to mitigate this fractal structure break, or all the way down into this imbalance, or just to mitigate this whole demand range. Okay, so all those are possibilities of where price could be headed. Okay, so let's look at the Euro USD and let's see the 4-hour. Okay, so this is our 4-hour. So already we can see that this is our range. Okay, this is our range, right? Swing range that we're working in. Okay. However, internally we are bullish. Okay, this was the last break of structure to the upside, and then since then we had a sweep of these highs, so we took all this liquidity, right? And then now price is reacting strongly to the downside. So as you can see, price is coming down strongly, and then we're starting to have these structure breaks to the downside. Okay, so it is likely that price is going to continue. Okay, now of course it's coming to this demand range, which also had a sweep right there. Okay, which also had a sweep and then led to this strong push out breaking structure here, and then overall this high. Okay, so now we are inside a point of interest. Okay, we are within a point of interest, so I could simply mark out and be aware that this took liquidity on the 4-hour. Okay, so this took liquidity on the 4-hour. Let's see what else. So for now, I think those are all the details we need. Price is coming into that POI. Okay, so it could give a reaction, or it could just fall through and sweep these lows. So we have lots of things to target. Okay, we have lots of things to target. So I'm going to have that, and then just have that low as well in case we get to it. So alright, then look at the 15-minute. So looking at the 15-minute, this is what we have. Let's see. So we do have trend line all the way here. So all of this liquidity that's resting down here. So let's see, 15M. So I could look at this low. So this low then lines up with the 4-hour. The 4-hour lows. Okay. So this is what we have. So we had a sweep right there. And that pushed price up. And then we could have a trend line. Okay. So now let's look at the details. So we've had a break of structure. Price pushed up, came down. Alright, this made this low high and then continued a lower. Okay. And continued lower. So once it mitigated the top of this week, okay, it then respected, and then from there it just kept on going down. Okay, so let's see. So that's our 15-minute break of structure, and then this is a last high that led to that break. Okay, that's what we got. And I'm just going to put this, well, actually we don't need this at the moment. Alright, so this is our swing range, alright, that we have at the moment. This is the swing range we have. So from there to there, and then currently this is the low that we're within. So this is a point of interest. I'm just gonna cover all of that. And then we have that, and then we have our extreme. And I'll push it all the way to there. Okay. Right, so this is what we have. So after break of structure, we do expect price to pull back. So that was minor. Can remove that. So we do have structural lows where price could reach into. Okay. So price could reach into here. Okay, so this is what I'll be looking at. So expectation will be for price to continue, sweep these lows, okay, and then we'll really possibly have some kind of reaction to the upside. Okay. Otherwise, if price starts continuing to come up, then okay, we can take Asia highs, we can take this structural highs, All right, and then once we take any of those, assuming price doesn't reach any of these POIs, okay, we could still look for some kind of reaction to the downside as well. Okay, and then if it manages to reach any of these POIs, then would still look to be trading short, because right now we know that our swing range or our swing trend is bearish. Okay, and we are coming from this 4-hour supply. Okay, and price is pushing. Right now we are in this 4-hour demand. Okay, that's where we are right now. So it is likely that price could continue, and then we might have to buy up, okay, once it sweeps any of these areas. Okay, so that's what I'll be looking at today. Okay, that's what I'll be looking at today. So let's jump onto the pound and on the 4-hour. So this is what we have on the pound. So this is our range. Okay, this is our range. After breakout structure, we do expect some kind of pullback, and we're having that pullback, although we're struggling to continue pushing down strongly. So right now price is sort of like ranging right here. Okay, so what we could then see is possibly, because these are relative equal lows, I'm gonna mark those out. Okay, so we could see price just come sweep these, mitigate this imbalance as well. Okay, and then possibly continue to the upside. Okay, but this is on a 4-hour level. Okay, otherwise we also have relative equal lows at the bottom. So what do we have? Because from this point we had a strong push out. Okay, so in the meantime, I'm just going to mark out all of this as possible for each demand, or I'm just going to cover that. Okay, all right, so let's look at the 15M. So we broke structure, and since then we have respected that structure. Okay, we have respected that structure. So our swing low, our swing low is still being respected, so this is still our swing range. Okay, then we still have liquidity to the upside that we can target if price eventually decides to start going bullish. So this is what we have, and then what else? So I've already mitigated this area, so really I won't be interested in that, except it's liquidity to be targeted, and then this area has already done its job. So what else do we see? So just looking at the current ranges. So high, low, lower high, lower low, and then we brought to the upside, and then now we're just ranging. We are within this range this lower high and this high. Of course, internally price is bearish. Okay. Internally price is bearish. So what I'm looking at for the pound is this. I'm gonna be looking at price coming in. Okay. And then if it takes out these relative equal lows, then I'm gonna be expecting some kind of a push up to the upside. Okay. That's gonna be the main thing, and then possibly target our Asia high. We do see a bit of trend line right there. It's just like that, and then we have that high and all these highs that are resting at the top as well. Okay, so right now for the pound, I think mainly my bias is this, and then we look to go up. That's it. That's all I'm waiting for. So I'm gonna have that. Then I'm gonna mark this. Okay, here's my liquidity, and that's that. That's that. Price is in a tight range. Okay, it's in a tight range. Okay. Now there is potential price can continue going bearish. Okay, take out these lows, maybe this structural low. Okay, because we are the swing range is bearish. Okay, so that is a possibility. So if this fails, then price could simply just continue maybe until it gets down to some of these areas at the bottom. Okay, but for now, if it gives confirmation, this is what I'm looking at right now. Okay, all right, now all we're targeting is 321, and if you get that, you do that consistently, it should be good. It should be good. So those are my trade ideas for today. So please don't forget to like and subscribe if you find value in this material and you want to pick up my trade ideas every day. Hit that notification and you'll be notified as soon as I send or post a video. Okay, so otherwise, have a good day, and Working Trader out.